Alright, what's going on, guys? It is Thursday night and I got a really good video lined up here for you tonight. As far as today's action, not really too much to write home about. You got the big flush there early this morning, a little bit of a reversal to the 30-minute 21, but you'll notice the big 3 indicator with the sell signals here on the 30-minute chart, and we found a little bit of rejection and, all in all kind of a sloppy day and a pretty sloppy finish to the quarterly expiration. For what it's worth though, real quick, I did put out a video a few weeks ago talking about an iron Condor here on the S&Ps. That Condor expired at max profit today. So it did put a little bit of hair on our chest, with that flush early here this morning. But in the event you took that iron Condor, that did expire at max profit, which was good for, I think, pretty close to $800 per contract. But for tonight's video, guys, here is going to be the focus. The topic of discussion is, how can we find bullish plays in a bearish market? Even if we're looking for shorter term trades based off of, 15-minute, 30-minute charts, and maybe even daily charts, in a bearish market, how can we find the bullish opportunity? So 3 things we want to focus on: structure, squeezes, and signals. So as far as structure, we're not going to go too far off the deep end here tonight. As far as a couple of important basics, we're looking for things that are trading above their weekly and daily 21 EMA. So kind of the foundation of structure there. And then, of course, the squeezes. So I'm using the Squeeze Pro. You can use the free squeeze, which is free on Thinkorswim and TradingView. I think the squeeze is free on a lot of platforms. But I'm using the Squeeze Pro, and then I'm using the multi-squeeze labels over here. That way I can get a quick snapshot of all the squeezes across all the different time frames. So structure, squeezes, and then as far as the signals go, I'm using, of course, the new Big 3 indicator, which is my brand new indicator that pumps out buy and sell signals based on my criteria. And mind you guys, the indicator is brand new. That gets released next month. So we'll talk a little bit about the indicator and what that entails here tonight. But then over the next few weeks, we'll have a better video breaking down all the, all the good stuff there. So structure, squeezes, and signals, and then you'll see the note right here. If you want to make your job easier, start with the sector ETFs and then go from there. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Alrighty, so as far as a few of the sectors that I watch, you've got the XLF, your financials, XLK is technology, SMH is the semiconductors, XLE is energy, then you got utilities, consumer staples, etc., etc. So in terms of making your prep work a little bit easier, what I'm going to do here, guys, is go through the daily charts of these different sector ETFs, and we're going to try to find a few here that are trading above their weekly and their daily 21 EMA. So right off the bat, if you look at the financial sector, not looking too hot. Right? Downtrend under that daily 21 EMA. We're not going to look for bullish trades here on the financials. So you can quickly write that off. Next up is technology XLK under the daily 21. You've got the semiconductors under the daily 21. So as a general statement, it's a bearish market, meaning a vast majority of sectors are trading under their weekly and their daily 21. However, you do a little bit of work here, and you'll notice the healthcare sector XLV has actually got some decent structure to it, hanging back above that daily 21, shift of momentum here on the histogram, and really impressive. You get the big flush yesterday and today, still holds pretty good structure. So the key, of course, is that it stays above that daily 21, but with a little bit of relative structure here, a little bit of relative strength, we can take a deeper look into the healthcare sector for a few trades. And then you got biotech, IBB, kind of the same scoop. Positive shift of momentum on the histogram. Couple closes back above that daily 21. And mind you, in a market like 2020, 2021, where the entire market is rallying, it's not going to be the most bullish thing going. In a bullish market, we're looking for a little bit more. But given the current environment, that is pretty bullish. Right? That's relative strength and some pretty good structure. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take IBB Biotech, and we're going to take XLV Healthcare, and we're going to pop open the hood and look at the stocks inside those ETFs and see what might be setting up here for a few trades. So here's a useful website for you guys, etfdb.com. If you go to the website here, in the search bar, you can type in the ticker for any sector ETF. So in this case, we're going to look at XLV, which is healthcare. Right, hit that bad boy, and then you'll see over here the holdings. If we click on that, this will show us the top holdings sorted by the weighting in the XLV ETF. And make sure you remember, I'm only interested in looking at healthcare stocks because XLV has got some pretty good structure, and it's trading above that daily 21 EMA. So for a few of the top holdings here in healthcare, you got Johnson & Johnson, UNH, Pfizer, ABBV, Eli Lilly, a little bit of Lilybell, MRK, TMO, etc., etc. So being that healthcare has got some better structure than the rest of the market, now what I'm going to do is go through all these charts, Johnson & Johnson, UNH, and we're looking for good structure on the stocks. Then we're looking for squeezes in buy signals. So let's take a look here at UNH, one of the most heavily weighted stocks in XLV, and along with the sector, you got some pretty good structure here. And more importantly, some relative strength. You get the market rolling over yesterday. Obviously pretty sloppy here today. However, UNH is above that daily 21, positive shift of momentum on the histogram, and it continues to grind higher. So pretty good structure, and the key, of course, this has to continue to trade back. It's got to continue to trade above that daily 21. Under the daily 21 EMA, that is where the trouble starts. So good structure. Now we're going to do our squeeze check. And using the multi-squeeze labels, we've got a weekly, a 3-day, a 60-minute, a 30-minute, a 15-minute, a 5-minute squeeze. So a little bit of a squeeze fest here. So I find my structure, I find my squeezes, and then the goal is try to match a squeeze with one of my buy signals. So over here, guys, if the labels are yellow for a given time frame, that means I don't have a buy signal or a sell signal from the big 3 indicator. Basically means that time frame is a little bit neutral. So as a good visual here, if you look at something like natural gas, for example, UNG, when I have my daily buy signal, so the label is green or I've got the green dots on the daily chart, trend, structure, momentum is as bullish as possible on the daily and the weekly. So one thing to keep in mind with my buy and my sell signals, they're taking into consideration multiple time frames. So as far as structure goes, we're only going to get our daily buy signal when the daily chart and the weekly chart fit all my bullish criteria. So if you look at UNG from February up until June, good looking weekly chart. You're above that 21 EMA, you got a positive histogram. Now check UNG's weekly chart out. Histogram begins to fade. You're under that weekly 21. So guess what? As soon as that weekly structure breaks down, I'm not going to get a daily buy signal anymore. But what goes into the indicator? We're looking for good-looking daily charts. We're looking for good-looking weekly trends. As far as what exactly goes into the indicator, it's really a combination, guys, of my favorite indicators. So for the last 5 to 8 years, I've really focused on the squeeze. I love my positively stacked EMAs. I love the 10x bars. Few other indicators. So basically what we did, took all those indicators, put them together, turned it into one indicator. So the stacked EMAs, the 10x bars, the squeeze, etc. In order for me to get a buy signal, all those things have to line up on the weekly and the daily chart. And for me to get a buy signal on the 30-minute chart, the 30-minute chart has to check out, and so does the hourly. So the signal kind of builds on top of itself, but pretty much for me, this is my path of least resistance indicator. So for the daily chart, as long as we have the buy signal, I am looking to get busy. And getting busy could mean we are getting long at the 21 EMA. Inside the daily squeezes, we might be buying the dip. But the most important thing to note is, as long as you have the buy signal, the path of least resistance is to the upside. As soon as that buy signal disappears, and for UNG, the buy signal disappeared on the 15th of June, that's where things get a little bit suspect. And obviously UNG completely fell apart. So it's not to say we're going to short things as soon as we lose the buy signal. But to me what that means is the daily chart no longer has the ultimate combination of trend, structure, and momentum. That suggests it's going to continue to trade higher. So a few more examples here, but if you look at like Valero. And the thing is, guys, basically, the way that I see it, when you get these crazy bullish trends, anybody can make money there. So for Valero, you get the buy signals back here in, March. As long as that buy signal is being printed, you can trade every daily squeeze to the upside. You can buy every dip to the daily 21. Pretty easy stuff. So the key is not just making money on these trends, but keeping your profits. So Valero loses the buy signal on the 15th of June, proceeds to completely fall apart. So the thing here is you can buy the dip once, you can buy the dip twice. You can trade something really well for 2 to 3 months. If you don't know when to stop, if you don't know when to take your foot off the gas, look how quickly you can, look how quickly you can get back all those profits. So you're buying the dip, you're buying the dip, you're buying the dip. Then things begin to break down. So a few basics there on the indicator. And now if we kind of jump back into the watch list, going back to UNH, good structure, whole bunch of squeezes, and we have the buy signals here on the 1 hour and the 30-minute chart. So all I'm trying to do is find a squeeze, match it up with the buy signal. So hourly squeeze, hourly buy signal, we'll check that out. And a pretty good looking squeeze, right? You can see you had an hourly squeeze back here. You had the buy signal, and that took you into higher prices. So UNH is pretty solid here. We'll check out the 30-minute squeeze. Really good stuff. 30-minute squeeze. 30-minute buy signal. You get the green dots here. Move to the upside. Pull back to the 30-minute 21. 30-minute buy signal still active. Nice push to the upside. 30-minute squeeze, 30-minute buy signal, so on and so on. So pretty good structure here to UNH. That's that's an interesting hourly and 30-minute squeeze. Now for some context, guys, it's a little bit extended. It's up here at 2 ATR on the daily chart. My preference is to take these 30-minute, 60-minute squeezes a little bit closer to the daily 21. Daily 21 is basically the launching pad, so what I'm really looking for are signals like this. I've got my structure, I've got my lower time frame squeezes, but they're right on top of that daily 21 EMA, and then I got my lower time frame buy signals. That's what I'm looking for. But UNH is a pretty good example. Let's move on to a few more here. All right, next up is Pfizer, PFE. Pretty good structure, right, back above that daily 21. So we're at the launching pad. Right, and what I'm looking for here at the launching pad is a move towards 2 ATR on the daily chart. So pretty much we're looking for a push just like that, or a push just like that. We check the squeezes. We have a weekly 3-day squeeze, but not too many squeezes here on these lower time frames. And then as far as my buy signal goes, if you guys look over here at the big 3 multi-label, the daily chart is neutral, the 4-hour chart is neutral, but the 30-minute and the 15-minute, they've got a few buy signals. So we'll check out the 30-minute chart. Pretty good push, but here's what's missing. I want the signal, but I want to play it with a squeeze. And I want to take that squeeze as close to the daily 21 EMA as possible. So Pfizer looks pretty good, but I do feel like I might have missed a little bit of that move. So you kind of keep an eye on this. You see if it comes back a little bit. You're waiting for your next round of lower time frame squeezes. And the last one that we're going to check out here is BMY, Bristol Myers Squibb Company. So BMY, nice daily structure, right, back above that daily 21, and you got a pretty good push here. Right, so we're going to look for a little bit more of that same kind of action. Big push from the daily 21 towards about 2 to 3 ATR to the upside. So if you study that move, right, that big rip, we kind of put a drawing around that. Right down there at the launching pad, the 21 EMA, that's where you're going to look for some lower time frame squeezes and some buy signals. So for example, if you look at maybe the 30-minute chart, sure enough, this entire push was triggered by a 30-minute squeeze on top of the daily 21 EMA, and of course the 30-minute squeeze had the 30-minute buy signals. So that pretty much worked as advertised, gave you a push right towards 2 ATR on a daily chart. Now we're pulling back. So I think BMY is pretty interesting here. For now, the signals are neutral. So we have structure, but we don't have anything telling us it's go time just yet. So my suggestion for BMY is, all right, you got the structure. Next couple of days, you're going to look for support here at that daily 21. But then we're going to wait for a few lower time frame squeezes to start popping up. If we get a 60-minute, a 30-minute, a 15-minute, and then we get buy signals on the 60-minute, 30-minute, 15-minute, that's pretty much going to be our cue that she's loading up, ready for another push. Basically looking for a repeat of that move right there. So we'll wrap up the video here, guys, but I'll leave you with a quick comparison. Check out the daily chart here of Rivian. There's no chance in hell I'm trying to get bullish on Rivian here. We've actually got a few shorts of some call credit spreads, but in terms of structure, squeezes, and signals, the structure is all a bit more bearish here. Trading under the daily 21 EMA, so it's under the launching pad. The histogram is negative, and you've got squeezes on the 3-day, daily, 4-hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute time frame. So inside of a downtrend, inside a relatively bearish structure, what the squeezes tell us is the stock is currently building up a bunch of energy. It's consolidating, it's compressing. It's kind of phase one of the squeeze. Eventually, we look for phase two, the expansion, the release of the energy. Or in plain English, you look for all these squeezes to start to fire. So of course the question is, when you have a bunch of squeezes, which way is they going to fire? Are they going to fire long? They're going to fire short? Again, that's where the signals come in handy. So as far as the big three on Rivian, daily sell signal, 1 hour sell signal, hold on, 1 hour sell signal, 30-minute sell signal, all the way down to the 15-minute. So I take my relatively bearish structure. In my bearish trend, I find a shitload of squeezes, but then I'm trying to match them up as far as their direction with the big three indicator. So based on my criteria, the daily chart, the hourly chart, the 30-minute, etc., based on stacked EMAs, based on squeezes, based on 10x bars, this all currently suggests the path of least resistance is to the downside. So what's useful about all of this is I can pull up a chart like Rivian, in like a fraction of a second dictate whether or not that's a long or a short. If I got a bunch of red lights, it's probably going to be a short. It's definitely not going to be a bullish trade. Then we can look at a name like Apple. All right, how's Apple looking? Under the daily 21, couple of squeezes here, but it's all neutral. So nothing really suggesting the immediate path is to the upside, really across any time frame, but nor is there a huge suggestion from the indicator that Apple's going to fall apart here. So I'm not really looking to go long or short Apple. Right, I'm going to wait for my squeezes, but then I'm going to wait for my signal. All right, how about something like gold? Haven't looked at gold in a while. Neutral. So I don't really see too much edge getting long or short. We'll do one more random pick here. How about, drum roll, how about Baidu? Right, super random. Baidu's kind of interesting. How's our structure? Compared to the rest of the market, not all that shabby. It's been back above that daily 21 since late May. Histogram's positive. So a little bit interesting, right? Above that daily 21, you can look for that push to the upside. So if we put the launching pad down here, you're looking for a little bit of that kind of action. A push from your daily 21 EMA towards about 2 to 3 ATR. A push from your daily 21 to about 2 to 3 ATR. But the kicker is, guys, if you don't have a buy signal on your daily chart, you've got to wait for that buy signal across a lower time frame. So if we study each of these pushes here, try to get a sense of what are we looking for the next time around, a 30-minute chart, an hourly chart, a 4-hour chart, you have your buy signals. So that push back there, you got your hourly buy signals, and if we go back here, once again, you got the hourly buy signals. So what would I do with Baidu? I'd watch it. I'd make sure it stays above that 21 EMA. I'd wait for a bunch of squeezes, but then I would wait for the buy signal. So a shorter video tonight, guys, but I want to show you a few different things there. You got a little bit of relative strength and some decent structure in the healthcare sector, in the healthcare stocks, and in a few of the biotech stocks as well. But to me, that's the theme that really works. Trend, structure, momentum, structure, squeezes, signals. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. For those of you that are in my mastery, we actually released the indicator to y'all today. So if you're a mastery member, go and check out the chat room. We put the link in there so you guys can grab the indicator a little bit early. And for the rest of you, I'll keep you posted as we get closer towards the end of July. That's when we're doing the official launch. We'll do a few webinars. We'll do a class, all that good stuff. But there you have it, guys. Structure, squeezes, signals, and one of the easier ways to go about looking for these opportunities is to start with the sector ETFs. So we'll see what tomorrow brings, but I, for one, I'm going to keep an eye on a few of these healthcare stocks. If they keep holding that daily 21, if we can get a bunch of squeezes and then we can get a bunch of buy signals thrown into the mix, we'll be looking for a push into higher prices. But that is what I got for y'all tonight. I'm going to go chill for a little bit. Hope you found this helpful, and I look forward to talking to you guys on Sunday in the weekly watch list video. It'll be a good one. Talk to you then.